Today we're going to talk about upheavals in China, chapter 27, section 4, as far as the dawn of the Chinese Civil War, as well as the Sino-Japanese War. That being said, as always, we'll start with terms, 21 demands. Mr. Shovels.
What's the demands that sought to make China Japanese protectorate?
Very good. Okay, now that being said, directives. What is a directive? What do you guys know of this term?
It's a direct law to people.
A direct law, or direction that the only other way around it is to basically leave the country. A directive. Now, protectorate can be compared to what else?
Everybody wanting control, like a collection, I think. Isn't that what we
Not quite. We have the protectorate and we have a colony. What's the difference?
Oh, protectorate, their leaders kind of control it.
Local rulers left in place, but ultimately they would have to report to Japan. Very good. Okay, May 4th movement. Ms. Rady.
The protest set off a cultural and intellectual ferment.
Very good. All right, now with this, I want you to always, whenever there's a date, make sure you guys have the date for sure. 1919 student protests, organized boycotts of Japanese goods, as well as the Japanese businesses are taking place. So again, this would be a pro-China movement. Okay? Culture as well. Excellent job. Vanguard. Mr. Sullivan.
Elite leaders of a communist revolution.
Very good. Now we're going to add in typically within a revolution. Typically revolutionary. Okay. Anyone ever watched the film or saw the play Les Mis?
No.
I've seen like the really
Okay. Any version whatsoever. Yeah. The vanguard would have been those group of people organizing the barricades. Does that make sense? They're trying to lead a revolution, so they're trying to organize all these forces to go up against the French government, as you can see in Les Mis. Here, certainly, would be the people who are somewhat in charge of the May 4th movement, calling for ultimate government change. The Kuomintang. Sandy.
A nationalist party established by the government in South China.
Very good. Long March. Ms. Rady.
Epic march in which a group of Chinese communists retreated from Kuomintang forces by marching over 6,000 miles.
Very good. Make sure you guys have, like Ms. Rady said, this the communists retreating. Very good. Now the Kuomintang are who?
The
Chinese nationalists.
Excellent. So you can see that this civil war is going to be between who?
The nationalists and the communists.
Very good. So the Kuomintang and the communists. Excellent. Okay. Any questions thus far? Perfect. The Chinese Republic in trouble. What were the twin evils that the fledgling Chinese Republic face? So we're looking at the scoreboard side. Ms. Sackett. Okay. Ms. Robinson.
They seized over much control of China, and foreign powers increased their influence over Chinese affairs.
Very good. And the ones that are seizing power are these local warlords. Now, has anyone ever watched the movie Black Hawk Down?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. It's that type of ruler. Not affiliated with the government, just has a lot of power, a lot of people follow him, and a lot of weapons to essentially take care of business. Very good. Same thing that we have going on in China, though. Okay, they exist. They're freestanding from the government, trying to rule their own people specifically. Okay? What were the two reactions within China to the country's problems? So, now that we know what our major problems are, how are we reacting? Ms. Rudd.
The Soviet Union was training Chinese students to be the elite leaders, and they formed a political party.
Very good. Now that's going to be within the rise of Marxism. Oh boy. Marxism, we're going to have /USSR here. Okay? That being said, May 4th movement, we want to break from our tradition that is not working at the time. Okay? Use westernization. As you could have saw with the example of Turkey and Iran the other day, Reza Khan, Mustafa Kemal Ataturk. We're trying to do this in China now, as far as the initial changes to be made. Some people also turn to Marx and Lenin for solutions. Now, one thing you guys need to understand, whenever there is significant problems, and this was a fear in the United States immediately after World War II, as well as the interwar years, Whenever there's economic woes or people are distrustful of their government, that's when communism starts becoming in. Because you think about it, if you're living in poverty, you don't have a lot going on at home, and someone says that under this structure we're all equal, it at least sounds like something you might want to think about. Well, equal is defined typically as equally poor. Okay, so you're already miserable, just everyone around you is going to be miserable too. Alright? Struggle for New China. Which leader's theory is more revolutionary in the sense that it would bring broad changes, and why? Stanahay.
Zhang Jiaxi's theory, because he wanted to smash the power of the warlords and reunite China.
But if you look at what's going to happen here, it would keep the power in the hands of one person, himself, which is what we're battling with the warlords. So Zhang's theory wouldn't be a great wealth of change. It's already what you have, it's just now you report to a new leader. Whereas Mao would be more revolutionary because the power would be in the hands amongst the working class, which is a far larger group of people, obviously, than just one person calling all the shots. So what you guys got to have down here is this is communism versus a dictatorship. Despite the fact that it's called the Nationalist Party. Alright? Those are major ideas there. And we're going to continue on, so we'll be available later, like as always. This leads us to the Long March, which, if you're familiar with the geography of China, and you just use our scale here, this little value here is 200 miles. Okay? Now, if you look at the size of this march, traveling all the way around China, that is thousands of miles that you would be forced to walk in a retreat from a government that doesn't support you. All around this whole time, you have nationalist strikes against them, fighting going on. You have local bandits in the area as you're trying to travel because you're fearful for your life. You're being attacked at all times. And then this country right here, which you can't see all of, is going to wage war against you as well. So how safe was this trek?
Not at all.
Not very at all. Thousands of people are going to die, which is one of the main things you guys got to take from this. Now, there is a comparison with this, and have you guys heard of the Trail of Tears?
Yeah.
Okay?
Bloody footprints.
Yeah, and that's an unfortunate part of our history, but under President Jackson, those Native Americans were forced to move out of those lands, specifically within Georgia, the Cherokee Nation, as well as other tribes in southeastern United States, forced to move west. It's the same theory, so you guys can all see that history is absolutely cyclical here. We had our example before this even takes place. And it's the same wealth of atrocities in that one group of people is being subjugated and forced to move off their lands, just in a different part of the world in a different time period. Okay. Japanese invasion. What was the rape of Nanjing? Lily.
Okay, a part of the Second Sino-Japanese War, airplanes bombed Chinese city and Japanese troops overran eastern China. After a lengthy siege, Japanese troops marched into the city of Nanjing. After the city surrendered, the Japanese killed hundreds of thousands of soldiers and civilians and brutalized many more. The cruelty was called the Rape of Nanjing.
Very good. Now this is called rape, which most people are like, well, that doesn't make sense. That's more of a sexual and derogatory term. But you guys have to understand the core essence and core context of rape is to take something without regard. Okay, without permission to forcefully take something. Which if you compare that mindset to what we have going on here, this is absolutely the same thing. It's just it's applied to an entire group of people and involves death. Alright? The city has already surrendered, 1937. We've already lost. Okay? The Japanese army is going to go on brutalizing and killing people after the surrender. To send a message to the Chinese. Essentially, back down, we are your new rulers. Okay? So one thing you guys got to take for this, the overall effect of this is this. Fear. Okay? Because if you think about this, and this is men, women, children, the elderly, whomever they decided to attack and murder in the streets. Alright? Could be for whatever reason you looked at the person wrong. Unfortunately, now you're with your Creator, if that's what you believe in. So you can see that the whole world is going to be like, ooh, not really a good idea for Japan here. But again, this isn't just fear for China. Would this not also send a message to the world?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Here's the Empire of Japan. And this is going to be the same empire that's going to bomb Pearl Harbor. Okay? They're in government context, you're flexing their muscles, right? People lift weights and they try to lift weights in front of a mirror so they can see their biceps getting bigger. We laugh, but that's true. It happens. Okay, same thing here. They didn't need to kill any of these people. But by doing this, they're flexing their military muscles, saying to the world, this is your future. Here we come. Okay? That being said, how did the Japanese invasion help unify China? Dane.
Kuomintang forced Chiang to form a united front with the communists against Japan, which equals the common enemy.
Very good. That's the major idea there. Common enemy. We don't need to fight each other for the time being because ultimately this whole party here, the Japanese, this whole nation, would like to conquer both of us. So you set your differences aside for the time being and you fight the Japanese. It'd be like for whatever reason your siblings, brother, sister, older brother, whatever, you and your sibling are fighting, okay? Not getting along, not seeing eye to eye. You have a civil war amongst yourselves, but no matter what, the neighbor is planning on beating you up. Okay, you unite together, take care of the neighbor, then you resume your fighting. Does that make sense? But it really is though. If you compare these, say the Kuomintang and the communists are, both brothers of China, all right, and the Japanese is the neighbor that's trying to take care of business. You eliminate the neighbor first, then you resume your fight. Yes?
Yes.
The perfect time for the British to attack the United States was when?
After the Civil War.
American Civil War. Okay, they're so divided and contesting the issue of slavery as well as structure of government. If the British really wanted to take the United States back, that would have been an excellent time to do it. Okay?
They did.
Or form an alliance with one side or the other and then be granted territory in the losing side. We're going to move on to objectives for efficiency here. Identify the problems that the new republic in China faced. Mr. Welch.
China quickly fell into the chaos in the face of the twin evils of warlord uprising and foreign imperialism.
Very good. Now there are twin evils right down here. Okay, so just remember that. Twin evils. As they're titled. Okay, and also you need to have that the reason that this is going to occur is because Sun Yat-sen's 3 principles of the people are going to fail valiantly. We don't have progress in China as designed by the leader. Thus, these things start to happen. Okay? That's setting us up for a civil war. Describe the goals of the May 4th movement. Mr. Newman.
The goal was to strengthen China, and they did this by rejecting Confucian tradition and traditions from the West.
And then westernizing. Good. Okay. So the goal here, cultural and intellectual movement, progress, is the whole mindset of what we have going on in China. We're going to reject traditional Confucian ideology. Now this is the exact opposite of what we're promoting in India right now. We're calling the promotion of our own culture and everything that we believe and hold true to ourselves, whereas here, we need to westernize. Okay? So you might want to write down same thing as Turkey and Iran. As far as how this is going to be executed. That being said, explain what the civil war erupted between the Kuomintang and the communists. Mr. Hartman.
Okay, started over control of warlords. 1927, Ji Shi attacked communist forces who were a danger to his power, starting extermination campaign.
Very good. And that being said, you have to understand this whole thing started when we were united. We're united against those twin evils. We got to remove them from power. But in 1927, Chiang Kai-shek, or Chiang Kai-shek, okay, is going to attack the communists while they're weak, while they're down. That being said, he thought them as a threat to his power. So anyone who's a threat to your power, and if you're you have a military at your expense, if you don't approach it appropriately, you're going to use your military to get rid of your threat, which is how he himself is going to start the Civil War. Okay, extermination campaigns such as the Long March, which is thousands of miles, men, women, and children, attacked the whole way. Thousands of people will die because they don't see eye to eye with the government. Again, that parallels our Trail of Tears. So I'm going to write this down. It's a similar idea there. Alright? They would unite against the Japanese during the Sino-Japanese War and then resume their conflict. So you do need to see that they will unite against the Japanese when being challenged by a foreign enemy. Alright? I'm going to show you guys now the assignment slide, and then I'll come back to this after we're done screencasting. Next thing you gotta do, as always, 27.4, QREV, just the worksheet, those are gonna be coming back. The PR, number 1 and 3 through 6, all of this is going to be due on Monday.
Okay.